Minecraft's The Garden Awakens game drop has been announced to release on December 3rd, so here's a full recap of everything you can expect to see in the latest version. Starting things off, we have the Pale Garden biome itself, which is what this whole game drop is centered around. All new features being added in this version are found in the Pale Garden biome. The Pale Garden biome is a variant of the Dark Forest with a similar design, although it does have an effect that dulls the sky to a grayish color as soon as you enter, signifying you're in the new Pale Garden. The biome also brings a variety of new blocks, being a new wood set, a new brick type, a new dynamic flower, and a few miscellaneous plant lives. The miscellaneous plant life includes pale moss carpets, and pale vines. There's not much to say about these blocks besides the fact they're just lighter versions of already existing blocks. The pale moss, however, does have a unique function, and it can be placed on the bottom of builds to have an overgrown vines effect, which could be valuable for builders. The one other form of plant life being introduced in this update comes in the form of the eye blossoms, which are a new type of flower found exclusively in the Pale Garden. The flower comes in two variants, being open and closed. Eye blossoms transition between the two variants depending on the time of day. During the daytime, the flower remains closed, while at night, it opens up, revealing a glowing eye at its center. Eye blossoms also communicate with each other, signifying when to open and close. So to put it simply, when one eye blossom closes, it'll message the other eye blossoms in the area to follow its lead. The eye blossom is also poisonous to bees, can be sold by wandering traders, can be used to make suspicious stew, and can be crafted into orange and gray dye depending on which variant is used. Outside of the plant life coming along with this biome, we are also receiving a new pale oak wood set, which is the first ever wood set to have a white color scheme. This is super exciting as many players have been asking for this for the longest time, and it's going to be incredibly useful for future builds. The wood set comes along with all the basics: logs, planks, signs, doors, trapdoors, boats, you know the deal by now. Now the other new block introduced is a form of brick that can be obtained through a new mob, the creaking. The creaking mob appears to be a tree come to life and only spawns at night in the new Pale Garden. The creaking mob functions almost as an opposite to the Enderman, meaning it will attack you whenever you look away, but if you're looking directly at the creaking, it will freeze right in its place. In other words, it's been said to be Minecraft's version of the Weeping Angels. Now, unlike other mobs, the creaking cannot be damaged or killed, rather its life is dependent on a new block, the creaking heart. The creaking heart is found inside the Pale Garden trees, and in order to eliminate a creaking, you have to locate and break this creaking heart. This is done by hitting the creaking, which will send orange particles in the direction of its creaking heart, which you can then follow to destroy it. The creaking heart can also be harvested with Silk Touch to spawn in creakings for your own use. It's important to mention that any pale oak tree sapling used to grow the tree by the player will not actually contain any creaking hearts, so you do have to go out of your way to the Pale Garden to actually obtain these. The harvested creakings, however, will still only spawn at night and will still attack the players, so it's hard for me to understand what their use would be for besides some maybe mini games. Overall though, the mob itself is a great new addition with a combat mechanic that feels unique to Minecraft's usual fights. Now the creaking does actually serve a purpose outside of being scary, and it's to harvest the new item resin, which can be used to create a new dark orange brick set. Resin can be harvested by aggravating or hitting the creaking mob when it's near the creaking heart, which will then cause resin clumps to form on the pale oak trees to be collected and smelted into resin. This resin can then be used to make a variety of new brick blocks. The functionality of using the creaking to harvest resin is definitely interesting, but I will say I don't see myself using the resin brick set all that much, as the orange color, while is cool, makes it very situation dependent and will only fit with certain builds and aesthetics. Now outside of the building blocks, resin can also be applied to armor trims as well, and while maybe I'm not hugely fond of the brick set, I gotta say the armor trims look absolutely sick when paired with resin. And with that, we bring this update to a close. Those are all the features to be found in Minecraft's new The Garden Awaken drops. I gotta say, while I do think this drop has some cool features, it doesn't feel fully fleshed out to me. I do think it could have gone with a few additions, one of the most prominent being fog and pumpkins, which to me I don't think would have taken a lot of effort, as a white pumpkin is just a black retexture. But this is a topic for a whole nother video. So what do you think of this update? Do you like it? Is it somewhat disappointing? I'd love to continue this conversation and hear your thoughts, so leave any comments you have down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. It helps me out quite a lot and is completely free, as well as subscribing if you never want to miss out on another video just like this one. That's it for Minecraft's The Garden Awakens drop, and I'll see you in the next one.